viewers, welcome back to the Selfmade Auto Channel. We got a hot rod Neon, got towed in on the flatbed. It is a no start, no crank, and the car's been working fine. Lady drove it to work, went back out, no beans. So we pushed it inside, put on the lift, get it up a little bit. One thing I did observe on the inside, when you turn the key on, the big old red security light's on. So I'm assuming some kind of skim problem, something like that. I'll show you what I'm talking about, and then we'll get going. So when you reach in this little fella, turn the key on, you got that big red light in the upper right-hand corner there. Nothing happens, okay? Another thing I noticed too, I do not see a check engine light, so that's kind of bizarre. So we got the old Autel fired up here. Just got it on an auto scan. We're gonna go through and see who's saying what here. This has been stuck on this for a little too long now. So perhaps our little ECM is not talking to us anymore. But I'll let this sit here and continue. Either that or it's locked up, one or the other, because I don't see the percentage going up here, which is plausible. We'll let it roll through. I'll let this sit for a little while, pop it back on when this is completed, and we'll see what we've got. All right, here we go finally. It has skipped the ECM. So that tells me we're not talking to the ECM, however, it is talking currently to the airbag module, cluster, the skim, vehicle security, so it's going to be like our keyless entry module. It's attempting to talk to the radio at this point, and then I'll let this finish its little scan here. Please turn on the radio. Let me go turn on the radio. It wants to listen to some music. All right, the radio is on, so it must be this is how it identifies the radio module or something. Pass no faults. So if we do have comm down at the ECM, it could be, you know, lack of power, lack of ground. We'll go right for the skim because that is the one that has the light on, the red light on the dash. Let's see what we have for codes here. Serial link external failure, PCM status failure. Okay, so basically this is agreeing with our initial scan here. It is not talking. All right, I'm gonna grab us some diagrams, and we'll see. So on a Chrysler, when you get a no-com with the ECM, I've ran across at a time or two where you know, you get a shorted crankshaft sensor, and what that does, that pulls down the 5-volt reference and nixes the whole ECM. So we'll pop the hood. We will find the ECM. I think they live right up here in the front corner, and we'll take our testing from there. We'll, you know, before we get all hog wild, we'll check for a 5-volt reference. If that's missing, then we'll find out what's pulling down the 5-volt reference circuit, and then take it from there. But however, if the 5-volt reference is good, you know, very simple on these, as it is with, you know, a lot of comm stuff, is, you know, powers, grounds, and the ability to communicate. And like I say, the 5-volt reference out, make sure it's not shorted. And then on some vehicles, you know, the wake up signal, you know, the key on, like, hey, you know, PCM, the key's on, let's talk. So you got to look for that signal too. So that's where we'll go. So this is just my personal habit. When we have no comms like this, I like to just go through, you know, print out a, you know, vehicle network topology, I guess it would be. So what we're dealing with here, this is Chrysler's PCI bus, single wire to each module. It's a star configuration. So what this does, it just allows each module to talk to each other in a certain priority, and then it's transmitted to the data link connector. The ECM also has this SCI bus, this serial communication interface, that it uses for J2534 programming. You know, bidirectional controls from the scan tool you'll plug in, and the scan tool will you know, transmit and receive on these two data lines, and then the PCI is used to talk, you know, to the in between the modules. I think there is some good videos out on YouTube on the Chrysler PCI and the SCI and their, their CCD and all the different networks that Chrysler uses. So we can look at this. This vehicle is not equipped with ABS, so we don't have that module. We don't have our left and right airbag modules. We don't have a compass in the mirror or a CD changer. Excuse me. So it appears that the modules we do have, instrument cluster, security, airbag, vehicle theft, keyless entry, and radio, they all appear to work, and this little guy we highlighted in red does not work. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to check this wire, this PCI wire, and check for communications there. Very similar to a GM Class 2. It's even on pin 2 at the DLC, just like a GM. And then I've got our wiring diagrams here for the engine control module. So there's one for the PCM, which is 3 pages long. And then there's the other one. I'm going to go through, we're going to identify the powers and grounds and perhaps, key on sources. And then we're going to identify our PCI input. And then we're just going to go through and check these and see what we've got. Okay, so I took and moved the air box out of the way so we could get to the ECM and, so you just 2 bolts, move that whole mess out of the way. Gets this all opened up. It also gives us exposure to a 5-volt reference. And as I mentioned on Chryslers, it's not uncommon to see a crank sensor, cam sensor, throttle position, anything hooked to the 5-volt reference, pull the 5-volt reference line down. So we've got our little digital test light here. Battery's a little undercharged, 11.7. But we'll check this. And according to this, it is the purple with white wire, violet with white. That is our 5-volt, so it's going to be this one here, pin 3. We check that, and we've got 4.9 volts. So that is good. So I doubt that our 5-volt reference is being pulled down. There is a couple different 5-volt references. When I was looking on the wiring diagram here, looks like most everything is going to be in connector C1 and C4. A lot of powers and grounds and keyed switches, and I think I found 2. There's one 5-volt reference there, and there is another 5-volt reference there. I don't know if internally in the ECM on the voltage regulator if they're both the same, but we will check them at the ECM. It's pretty taped up, so that's kind of a bummer. But let's go ahead and do our testing at the ECM and see if we can't figure this out. So I see this ECM has some writing on it, number 1. I don't know if that is connector C1 or not. I grabbed us a connector pinout, but it does not have listed on here what color. I see this one is green, and it's green there. So what we will do, let's just see very quickly if these pins or cavities match. So pin 1 is supposed to be open, and pin 1 on this actually has something in it. I think they're actually numbered, perhaps. Sometimes it's the trickiest part. So that one may not be number 1. Love these red tabs. Said no mechanic ever. So let's look at this one. Here we go. Pin 1 on that bottom one that they have labeled as number 4 is empty, and it has one in cavity number 9. According to this, cavity number 9 is supposed to be ground. So likely that one is, this is connector C1, and then I'm going to assume 2, 3, and 4. So what we can do, this has a 5-volt reference in it. The only way to test that is with it plugged in. And I suppose if we could avoid, cutting open the tape and doing all that, we will. So what we can do in that respect is we'll look at our regular wire diagram. The 5-volt reference, let's see, connector C1, 5-volt supply is the violet with white, and that comes out here to number 6. Goes over here and down to our TPS. Okay, so that's one of the 5-volt supplies. So that we do not even have to check, simply because we already did. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go for powers and grounds on this. Let me go grab my high power test light. You grab down there where the test lights are handed, there's that headlight bulb with the 2 needles on it. Yep, there you go. Grab that little guy. That's the big dog, bringing out the dogs. So we'll make sure our equipment works here. Oh yeah, she's bright. 3.6 amps of thunder, baby. All right, and now I've got this labeled as pin 11 and 12, number 9 is ground. So we can see here, number 9 is ground, 11 and 12, fused ignition switch. That is fused ignition switch output. Ignition switch output, okay. Let me just make sure I'm not seeing this incorrectly. 11 and 12, they both come from a fuse. All right, they both come from the same fuse. It would be silly if I got this far and did not check a fuse. I'm gonna look like a dink. Should have backed up my diagnostic here a little bit, but we didn't. So we're gonna go to number 9. So this should be a ground, that one there. And these two should be hot. And that one's hot. Number 11 and 12, right? Run start position. That one's hot. That one's hot and that one's not. So that is super interesting. Right, 11 and 12. Dark blue with white and red with white. And they've got a connector and they've got a splice. And they both run off the same exact fuse. And let me just see here, 11. 12 auto stick. Boy, I am gonna have to grab a factory diagram here. Ignition switch output, off run start, run start. Just for the heck of it, Hannah, hop in the car there for me, would you? So right there is pin 12. Okay, shut the key off. Okay, so accept auto stick, it should only be hot in the run and start position. Turn the key on. Attempt to start it. Okay, let off it. Okay. And then this one's supposed to be the same. Shut the keys off or on?
It's off.
Okay, turn it on. Attempt to start it. Okay, that's good. So how the heck did we nail this right first thing off the bat? Okay, that's good, Hannah.
Yeah.
You can shut it off. So that's pretty interesting. The very first power we come across, which if this diagram is right, which it is Mitchell, so I never ever put a whole lot of faith in it, but the factory pinout information tells us, pin 11, ignition switch, run and start position, and then pin 12 on the accept auto stick, run and start position, should be 12 volts. And when we look at our diagram here, the Mitchell diagram here agrees pin 11 and 12, right? Yes, pin 11 and 12 all run off from the fuse box, left side of dash, this fuse number 10, but then they come down, they go to a splice, and the one that we're missing is number 11. So now we are forced to stop right here. We're going to bust this little guy open to see what we're doing. Of course, it's like the most inconvenient one to get to. I wonder. Don't want to tug too much. We don't want it to come back alive if that's the case. We'll very gingerly open this up without slicing our fingers and or the wires. Remember what I always tell you about cutting with a knife, Hannah?
Cut towards your buddy, not your body.
That's right, cut towards your buddy, not your body. That's wisdom, Hannah. That's stuff you can't get everywhere. They don't teach you that in school, do they?
Nope, they don't give you knives in school.
They don't? That's weak. Come on there. Dude, this tape is hella thick. All right, so there's that. What's it take to get this off? We grab us a pocket screwdriver, huh? We're gonna have to see about getting this connector opened up. We're gonna do some wire color verification before we get too far here, just to make 100% sure. Oops. Everybody close your eyes for a minute. Can't believe you broke that, Hannah.
I broke it?
Yeah. Oh, dude, they make these things. Oh, come on. Oh, there's about to be another one that's going to come up missing here in a second. Get this tab to release. There she goes. Okay. You broke it, Hannah.
Broke it.
All right. Let's verify our wire colors. So we're over here. We got, looks like blue with white and red with white. Is that what we were looking for here? Blue with white, red with white. With that being said, you know what we're gonna do?
What are we gonna do?
We're gonna jump her. And then number 9, our ground is black with white, so we verified wire colors. Just make sure our power didn't come back miraculously. Is the key on?
Key is off.
Go turn it on, Hannah. You're giving us false positives here.
You told me.
Yeah. She's gonna turn the key on. Ta-da, there's that one. And there is not that one. Okay, so we verified wire colors. We are missing power on the blue with a white stripe. Just looking, that goes back to splice S109, wherever that lives. So let's back probe this and just jumper it. Can we do that? You know what we should do first? Let's verify that it's not shorted to ground. Let's go across these two. If it was shorted to ground, it would have blown the fuse, you dummy. So, okay. Sometimes I speak before I think. Let me get some back probes. So this sucker's way at the bottom. So let's get this connector out of the way. Let's get all the connectors out of the way for right now. All right. A little dirt in there. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to use these 2 light back probes here. We're going to go into the back side. Maybe. All right, turn the key back on, Hannah.
Yeah, it is on.
It is on? You left the key on?
Told me to turn the key on.
Oh my gosh. It's okay, it's fine, really. All right, so that one has power. This one should be the dead one. That's correct. Now, we know we don't have a short to ground, so we can do this, and we know our circuit is still fuse protected. Wow, something's gonna short out here, I'll tell you that. There we go, we'll stick the little protective caps. Wow, I've never used those. Now, both of these should have power. All right, beautiful, shut the key off, Hannah. We're gonna take and plug this in, and I'm thinking, at that point, we might have some action, unless this is not the only problem. It may be a problem, but not the problem. Okay, Hannah, turn the key on, see if lets the smoke out of the box. Shouldn't. Key's on.
Key is on.
Did you hear the fuel pump? Is the check engine light on now?
Yeah.
No check engine light? All right, let's go grab our scan tool. We'll just go through and reselect it here, make sure there's nothing wonky. Having an awkward, quiet moment right now. to diagnose control unit. We're just gonna skip right to the engine controller. Keys on, right? Keys on?
Key is on.
Keys on. Dash is lit up. Let's see if this little guy is talking now. Ooh, look at this. I think we fixed it. She just needs a jumper wire. Look at that. Wham bambino. Technically. Wow, what's the chance of getting it on the first wire, Hannah? Slim to none. But we did.
You did.
Well, we ain't done yet. We ain't out of the water. Sweet. So now we can talk to the ECM again. However, throttle position sensor high, that's because it's unplugged. Sweet baby. You know what I say? Some days it's better to be lucky than good. So we got lucky, I guess. We took, not really lucky, but I suppose, first connector. And now we've got COM. And theoretically, just, well, we got crap on it. Just bump the key. Just like make sure the starter gauge is. Don't crank it. I don't want this thing to go all willy-nilly on us. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay. Settle down. So it sounds like we got it. And so we'll look back here at our diagram. Man, printing all these pages for nothing. So we look back at our diagram here. We got to have a brake. So we're dealing with the blue with white wire. So we got splice S109, splice S43, and we can make the assumption that the, of course I'm going to get a factory diagram here because I mean there could be like 30 more connectors. Mitchell sucks at this stuff, I'll tell you. That's just a side note. But anyhow, if this diagram is correct, our brake has to be from this splice out, because if it was between here and the fuse box, we would have lost both ignition sources, which we didn't. So let me find a factory power distribution wire diagram, see where these splices are. I see this has a connector on it, on the one wire that's working, the red with white, but this one does not, or doesn't appear to in this diagram. So that's where I'm at. That's what I'm going to do. So a little more digging now. Then we'll have to use our spider senses to find out where this wire's broke. Is the key off? Key's off. It's gonna be. It is. Yeah, so that happened. I think fixing cars nowadays is 75% research, 25% doing. So here's where we're at. It took a little while to pull everything up, but you can't just go willy-nilly without looking. So here is our fuse number 10, and this is the one that's given us fits, and that goes to connector C1 pin 11, like we showed, dark blue with a white stripe. We have a splice here, this S243, we have a connector, we have another splice, we have lots of potential problems. All right, so I grabbed a factory diagram, one of the factory diagrams. This is kind of difficult to find this all on one unit, but here's, fuse 10, the same one, dark blue, white stripe comes down to that splice S243, and then it goes over to this connector C104, out of that connector, and then hits another splice S109, and then that comes down to our ECM. So I grabbed, a pinout for C104, the connector, both halves of it. I don't know if this is the back of the fuse box or what it is. Perhaps, I'm not 100% sure. I didn't look at the location. It says instrument panel side. I don't know if that's headlamp or HDLP and dash side. But the pin numbers did agree, so because that says connector C104, pin C11. We look on here, C11, dark blue with white stripe. So I know we got the right connector. But what I'm thinking is, we need to determine, where this is broken. Of course, this, off this splice S109, I'm sorry, back here off 243, which it doesn't show in this diagram, is where this red with white wire goes. So I'm not super concerned with this here. What we need to do is see if we can start cutting this circuit down, whether we go to this connector, do we have power from here back, which I assume we do, because the red with white wire that would go here is good. So I got to believe from here back it's good. From here out is, can we determine if we have a problem? One thing we can do, I noticed that it runs the radiator fan relay, the AC clutch relay, So would it be safe to say that we could go to connector C3 at the ECM and check for power there? You know, key on, key in the runner start position. You know, power is gonna, you know, come down through here. It's gonna go over, it's gonna go through the control side of this relay, or through the control side. So it's gonna go through the coil. As long as the relay is not energized, you know, no load, no current flow, we should have 12 volts here. If we test that with a test light, it may, you know, turn on the relay, or if there's just no power, then we know our break is, you know, at least be, you know, before this point. So hope you're following along, but we're gonna go to connector C3 at the ECM. We'll go to, you know, we'll do number 6, number 11, and see if we have our 12 volt supply there. And that'll indicate that perhaps, you know, I mean, it still could be broke at the splice. I've seen splices where a couple of them work, but, you know, one of them coming off doesn't. Splice S109, so the splice that we're looking at appears to be right up here under the hood by the power distribution center. There's our connector C104. That's why I think it's probably in the fuse box, perhaps, or somewhere thereabouts. I'm not sure where the fuses are in this thing. So, like I say, I've seen splice connections, you know, where two of the circuits work, one of them doesn't, or one works, two don't. But I don't know. Let's see. Let's go to connector C3. So this should be number 3. All right, and the order was the same. So number 1 started here in the top right. I'll grab the trusty scope on a rope. We'll hook it to ground. Get the viewer sent me a new test light. Look at that, extra long. And if you're following the power should come down, like I say, it should go through the relays and out to the ECM. The ECM would be ground side switched, turning the relays on. So that looks like a number 6 and a number 11. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, you guys hear that clicking? So what's that tell us? That tells us that we have power going through. So how about number 11? So that's 10. Here's 11. Okay, so that's got to be the AC clutch relay. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but you hear the clicking coming from the box, and you hear the AC clutch kick on. Ooh, baby. So that's good. I think just for poop and laughter, we better pull out this little guy, make sure we didn't all of a sudden gain power down here. We did not. Okay, so we're still dead. That's perfect. So that tells us our wiring integrity from here all the way down to here is good. From here all the way down to here is good. But from here, no beans. So I hope we're all following along at this point. So at this point, really, you got a couple options. This car's pretty well hammered. We could, very simply, at the ECM, just, you know, splice them 2 wires together and everybody's happy, everything works. It's still a fuse protected circuit. The only thing I ever, you know, that always keep in mind that, you know, you get an open, you know, is it just broke? Is it, you know, I wouldn't think that it rubbed through on some metallic surface and then broke. But is it broke where there's a bunch of other wires that are going to break? You know, what's the story there? But I hope that you can see how we isolated the fact that we do not need to go back to this connector C104 now. Even though we went through and, you know, we printed out all our stuff and got all our research, we can cross that off the list of culprits. So splice 243 cannot be bad. Connector C104 cannot be bad. Splice S109 is still plausible, simply because, you know, we could have a little corrosion right there, but these two are still, you know, making contact. Not as likely, but we can't rule it out. But what we did do is we isolated our circuit from here, from this splice to the ECM, and that is the only spot that the wire can be broke. And we just did that with reasonable deduction. How's that for a word?
What word?
Reasonable deduction, is that right? That we use logic and thought process to get us where we're at. And now that we know the circuit, what's next, what I would say is next, instead of trying to isolate that splice, find that splice S109, which, according to this piece of paper, lives up here by the power distribution center. So instead of going hog wild and just assuming that it may be there, this thing's got a dent on about all four corners, particularly here in the front. Let's have a look underneath. These wires go down and just, visual inspection, because now it's okay to touch stuff, to wiggle stuff, and see what we find. I typically will not condone touching and wiggling until you identify as much as you can without touching and wiggling. If that makes sense, because what happens if you touched it and now it works, and now you don't know what you did? So we've identified the circuit, identified the problem. I'm gonna put our test light in place back on that wire on the ECM connector, and we'll go down and do some looking. If we don't see anything there, then we'll follow our wire up here. We'll see if we can't open the harness by the power distribution center, and then make an assessment from there. So I come down underneath here, first thing I notice, the whole core support is just folded right back. I thought the radiator looked like it was sitting back a little bit. We see it's all shoved back, and I look up and I see this wiring harness is pinched underneath the trainee cooler hose here. However, and you see where this has all been zip tied back, so perhaps it's, obviously it's had some front end damage. Our wire comes down right down through here, so it's that one that's in that, that Chinese finger stuff or whatever it is there, that, that protective coating. So that's where the ECM wires come down. I'm pretty sure they are, because here's our ECM connector, that wire right there. We've got the light still shoved in it, and that comes down, and then it joins this harness, which is pinched, but it goes both ways. It goes back up towards the ECM, but it also goes this way. Okay, so it's not pinched that bad. I don't see any rub through. So we'll leave that. You need me?
Why would I need you?
I don't know, phone just rang. Let's see, there's that. So that probably was in there at some point, so we'll just leave that like that for right now. It was probably in all these connectors. I'm not seeing any light flickering going on up there, so our light bulb's still in there. And of course, I don't know, does the wire go this way, or, this way, or does it go this way? I assume it goes this way and then up, and then towards power distribution. Now you can see how waffled this thing is. This whole core support is shoved back, so it's got our ECM pretty tweaked and shoved back and almost hitting the transmission. So yeah, the more I look at this thing, it's really, she's tight like a tiger. I say we go back up to the top and perhaps see where these wires loop around, maybe some stuff here in front of the ECM. We gotta have a break somewheres. All right, so here's what I'm thinking. I wish I had an exact layout of how this went, but the wires that come up from behind the ECM, I think they go through this harness. So it goes down, around, up behind. I really don't want to loosen up this ECM because everything is so bent and out of place. I don't want to not be able to get it back in. So what I'm thinking is we should have a little look-see. Not getting any kind of flick or anything down there, but an open, a lot of times you won't. I wonder if we can just open this up. I don't know if this is all factory tape or not. It looks pretty good. I'm just wondering if we can have a little peek in here. Hey, what's the odds of the blue with white being right on top? Like I say, sometimes it's better to be lucky than it is good. I don't know if that's the correct blue with white. But it is a blue with white. I totally cut it with my knife. Such a hack. Let's see if we have, because I was not very ginger there. We'll have to fix that up. So we've got power there on that blue with white. If it's the right blue with white, that's the next question. So what I need to do is leave that open. So obviously we've got to fix what I screwed up there. Got a little too much digging there with my knife. I just want to see if there is another blue with white in this harness. A lot of freaking wires. Blue with yellow. One thing I don't miss about working on big trucks is every wire is white, and they all go by circuit numbers. All right. I'm not seeing another blue with white. So, with that being said, what can we do? How do we know that's the right blue with white? Well, we pull the fuse. That's the correct answer. Or we could just cut it and then see if we lose power at our relay, but gosh dang it, I can't believe that I cut through that harness and then ended up stripping the wire off the wire we were looking for, potentially. What are the odds of that? Alright, Miss Hannah's set up inside the car. She's on fuse number 10, 15 amp. We're on this with our test light. Alright, Hannah, pull the fuse. Did you pull it? Ah, you pulled it, didn't you? Now you're messing with us. Did you get it?
Yep.
It's out? Okay, stick it back in. Can you do that or no? You probably have to squeeze it with your little digits. Can you get it? There you go. So there, that proves it. Wow. I can't believe we cut through the harness and cut the right wire. That's skill, man. Okay, so we've narrowed down the circuit from here to there. I can't pull it loose there. We'll give it the old Keith tug test, I call it. I swear that guy can pull a wire and it just breaks. He always finds it. Let's just see if we can get that lucky. And we can't. Today is not my day for that. But what we do know is it is broke between here and there. I feel a little something in this harness right there. It's a loop of wire of some sort. Cannot tell if this is all factory taped. I'm just wondering at this point if we should pull the ECM out. I just don't want to be able to, I just don't not want to be able to get it back in there. It's 3 bolts, it's all bent to pieces. That will expose our harness. We got to do it. I got to know. Other option, cut the wire, jump it over, splice it, move on with your life. But I just can't. At this point I got to know. You got to know, Hannah?
Yeah.
You want to know? You're not
Yeah.
following along. You're over there picking your nose.
Not picking my nose.
Who are they going to believe, me or you?
Me.
All right, so we'll leave that open. We'll have to hit that with a little bit of liquid electrical tape. And then maybe I'll put a little on it right now. Let me go get some. We'll put a little on that right now because we know that's good. We don't need to do any circuit testing back here. That way this has time to solidify before we tape it back in the harness. Fantastic stuff if you've never used it. Oh yeah. Yes, sir. Wow. Oh my gosh, I'm dirty. So I think this should be loose now. I don't know if it'll come out. Oh, we're gonna get ourselves in a pickle. Yeah, man, it's shoved right up against the, shoved right up against the training module. Crap biscuit. Oh, I don't know if we should do this, Hannah. Ah, when life gives you lemons. I don't, does that really apply to this? Not really. Sounded good. Son of a pop. Crap biscuit. Give me a big pry bar. You have to be very ginger with delicate electronics. Damn. She's stock. Let me just look. See if I can look behind it. The front of the car is so freaking wadded up that there's our wire. Bringing her down. Let me see if I can feel it tugging in there. The hunt for the broken wire. This looks all factory back here. All factory. There's around. Crap, I wish I could get that ECM up out of here without a whole big old circus, but we're gonna have to hook the front end onto something and just yank it back. Come on, little guy. Oh, slide that right out. Okay, now we can see, said the blind man. So what do you want to do, guys? Where do you want to open it, Hannah? Up through here, down at the curve?
Up through there.
Really?
I don't even know where you're at.
Sometimes I don't either. I'd say we go down here on the bend.
Okay.
Let's get closer to the end. I'm just wondering if we're gonna be able to get that stupid computer back in there. All right, if I cut through this harness and I cut the blue and white wire again, I'm out of here. I'm going to buy a Powerball ticket. And I don't even know what Powerball is. Let's see if we can't. We gotta isolate. We gotta get into this harness so we can see, you know, we know we're good up here. We need to see something. I should have just spliced the damn wire at this point. So we're making a YouTube, and Hannah's like, you can't splice the wire if you're making YouTube because people will pick on you. And so I didn't get as fortunate. I did not slice right through the wire we needed. Need to cut back some more of this tape. Kind of sucks when this car's all jacked up, you know. Makes doing some of the job a bit more difficult. Okay, there we are. We're opened up. Blue with white, blue with white. Where are you hiding? Probably on the bottom. Or we can't see. Where are you, little fella? Whew. I did a little bit of the hokey pokey, and I think I found a wire. So now we're gonna get our test light. And speaking of hokey pokey, we're gonna do the hokey pokey right inside the blue with white wire. Try not to hokey pokey right through my finger. Look at that, son of a gun. Is this stupid? This thing has got to be broken like the last couple inches. Hannah. Hannah. Get over here and pull that fuse out again. All right, so. Ow! Dang it all, right in my finger. All right, yep, go ahead and pull it. Did you pull it?
What?
Huh?
Where's the little thing?
Oh my gosh, Hannah. Tell me when you got it. Yes or no? You got it. Okay, plug it. Oh, yep, you got it back in.
You want it back in?
Is it out?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, you can plug it back in. All right, so that son of a pop. This freaking wire's got to be broken the last couple inches here. Oh, you know what? I wonder if that sucker is bad right here. Is the fuse back in?
Yeah.
You're 100%? Now that I don't trust you, but I'm gonna double check. So now we gotta fix our poking the wire that we poked down here.
Broke another one?
No, I just poked it. Let's see if we got power here. If this thing is bad at the connector, that's gonna be so freaking silly. Oh, somebody's about to see some blood. Okay, it is not. Okay. I know I'm through, right? Yep. Okay, so our wire is broke somewhere here in this last 8 inches. Pull, you sucker. Unbelievable. Open up tape. Starting to get frustrated, Hannah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Frustrated at what?
Stupid cars. Because we got a broken wire and we're right down to the last 10 inches of it. And I can't pull the dang thing. And it's got to be broke right here in front of our face. We did this sweet diagnosis, and now we got an hour-long video of frustration, wire finding. When really, an hour ago, we could have just spliced the dang wire down to the ECM until you tell me that people would talk crap about us for doing it. Remember? We had that little talk. There's our blue with white. There she is. There's our blue with white. So, doesn't come up. It's got to go up. It's got to go up, Hannah. Everything goes up. What goes up must come down, right? Except what? What goes up but don't come down? Think about it.
Up.
What goes up but never comes down? Oh my gosh, you don't know nothing, do you? Everybody's already screaming it at their computer screen.
Is it obvious?
It's obvious. There it is. Hallelujah! Look at, ready? Yeah. You want to do the honors? You want me to do the honors?
Should you?
You want me to do it because of the frustration?
Your frustration.
1, 2, 3. Ta-da! Broken wire. Eat it, Dodge.
What comes up but doesn't come down?
What comes up and doesn't come down? That's the question I asked you.
I'm asking you.
Your age, dummy.
Oh.
Isn't that a great joke?
I almost forgot to laugh.
Now we gotta fix all this friggin' garbage here. Let's finish peeling off the tape that we opened up. There it is, folks, live on camera. Whew! We found it. Gotta get some of this factory tape off here. And then we've got to go through on the blue with white wire. We got one more spot we gotta touch up with the liquid electrical tape that we poked with the test light. No option, we had no other option. You know, people tend to get a little sensitive when we poke wires. you got to cover up the hole once you're done. I mean, that's all there is to it. Either some nail polish works good, or liquid electrical tape.
You should do sparkly nail polish.
Sparkly.
Bright pink.
Favorite color. Okay, so there is our broken wire. Why did it break? Let me just look at the other wires that are in at and or around that area. Nothing else. Looks like it was braided or pinched, and honestly it was behind the armor protection. Super weird, which has a little bit of a rub hole on it. Okay, that's got a little rub hole right there where it was rubbing, because that's how rub holes are caused. Wow. All right, so simple enough, plenty of wire there. We will do a wire repair match. Let's see if I can pull that one back through. I can't. Our liquid electrical tape here is ready for second application. So I like, on a big slice like I did on that one where we exposed a lot, we like to use dual layers. Okay, so that's done. I'm gonna fix the wire, go eat some lunch, pout a little bit, because that took way too long to figure out or find, but we found it, and everybody's happy. We'll fix it. We gotta tape this whole mess back up, and we'll be good to go. All right, folks, I had to put a little electrical liquid tape there, a little bit on that wire down there, the two where we poked it. So I'm just gonna leave this and let that solidify. We've made the wire repair down there. I just used a crimp and seal connector, so in theory, I'm trying to do this one-handed. We should have, so that's gonna be our ground. That was pin 9, if everybody remembers correctly. Very gingerly front probe that. And then we should have power here. But the key's off. We turn the key on here. Keys on, so we should have power there. That's one we lost. And now I can't see nothing, and then that pin. So pin 11 and pin 12. Wham bambino, just like that. Battery in the camera's going dead. Battery in our light's going dead. Our electrical liquid tape needs to dry. We need to fix this mess. We need to try to pry bar our ECM back in place once this is all fixed. It's 12:30, we missed our lunch. We're going to eat lunch, let it dry, kick the camera on when we're done, verify the repair. All right, folks, got the harness all taped up. Had to do a little prying to get the ECM back in there. And no, I'm not gonna fix that because I'm not a body shop. And you know, a lot of people will comment to us, you know, like even on the little tractor video we did, like, why didn't you change the inner tie rod end boot? Because the customer didn't ask for it. You know, I'm not gonna leave the thing tore apart for weeks while I wait for that. You know, and on this car, I mean, the front end's been stuffed in. It's been probably bashed back for a while. I'm not gonna pull the core support back out and do all this stuff and chance breaking the radiator while you do that. You just leave it alone, fix the problem, and move on with life. I guess a couple things we can say. Right now, I had to put the battery charger on it. Battery's deader than a doornail, so I've got it set on nuclear. And some other people may question this whole kebab that we had to do. And honestly, what I said before, I think stands true, that a lot of diagnostics is 75% research, 25% fixing. Certainly, we came up with a game plan very quickly in the beginning. You know, we use AutoScan. We've got no comm with the ECM. We had some comm issues with the skim module. Talking to the ECM, you know, that's our no start. We identified that, and now we came up with a plan. Check powers and grounds. You know, grab your diagram, go for that. Check powers, grounds, and ability to communicate is what we were looking for. And then, you know, as luck would have it, we hit it right off. Second wire we tested, missing that. So now you can either go full gorilla and just start cutting open harnesses, trying to find that wire, or use logic. You know, look at diagrams. Where's the splice? Where's the connectors? Where's, you know, how many other modules does this go to? You know, we were able to look at the solenoids or the relays for the AC compressor and the transmission or whatever solenoids it was, AC and something or other there that fed. I don't remember. I have to look on our diagram again. Wherever it is, it's in this jumbled up mess. But we seen how it passed power through. So here we go, the radiator fan relay and the AC compressor relay. So we were able to make an assessment that, we narrowed it down to this section of wire just by using logic and a good diagnostic approach. And I guess if you get anything out of this video, that would be what I want you to gain, is to gain the ability to just stop. Sometimes you gotta slow down to go fast, is what I say. So we could have cut it open. If we cut open that last 10 inches of the harness, boom, we would have had it. If we started cutting on that end and guessing and pulling and poking and prodding, we'd still be there. So anytime you get a wiring issue, try to narrow it down, whether it be connectors, splices, whatever you can do, and comm stuff, shorting bars, there's all kinds of methods, but just stop and take a look and look at the data, look at the facts, and see what you can do to come up with a game plan, then go fix the car. I have the advantage of not having a boss, so I don't know if in a shop, you guys that are in the shops, if your boss seen you sitting in front of your computer for 45 minutes looking stuff up, getting diagrams, coming up with a plan, does he scream at you? I've got no idea. If I had a guy that was doing diagnostics and I knew he had a good logical approach, go for it, man. I mean, it's all billable time, as long as you're being productive and going for it. I gotta turn on the radio. I'm just doing a system scan, gonna clear the codes, and then we're gonna see if this baby runs. We'll take it from there. But anyhow, I just wanted to throw in that little tidbit about approach more than fixing a neon that doesn't start, because it doesn't matter if we're fixing a neon that doesn't start, or a fuel pump on something, or an alternator that doesn't charge. You got to have a plan. So here we go. It's gone through. What we got there? We got all 7. We've got 7 modules now. So we gained the PCM TCM, the all-in-one module, because before we had 5. 5 and 2 is 7. So we'll come over here. Let's take our battery charger off from nuclear. Look at this thing, the classic reach around. Oh. Boom, look at that. She's up and running. Sweet. With that being said, folks, that is that. So I hope you gained a little bit of perhaps knowledge on tracking down a no-comm ECM, even though it didn't have anything to do with the comm wires themselves. But I really hope that you gain more of logical, sensible approach, using your resources, finding resources before you go just hog wild on the old beast. And we got to keep moving. It's late in the day, got things to do, cars to fix. So check us out on Google+, Facebook if you haven't done that, and you can find us now on Patreon if you want to help support the SMA channel. Links to all that in the description box below and up on the screen and on our homepage and all that circus. So you'll find it there. When you're clicking around, click the subscribe button and click the notification bell so you get notifications when the SMA videos roll out each and every week. And just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.